Okay.
Well, how many guys on
No, I send this out as a recording afterwards. Leon Druckmann usually will join us. Hello, Leon, if you're watching this, and anyone else that wants to watch, it's available. And then it goes into my archives on YouTube anyway, so it's nice to have. Okay, so 19B1. Good evening to those who are joining us, especially those in person. Okay, we're going onto the left-hand side, and it's another quote of the Mishnah, which now deals with something called Koche Kadoshim. And you can see the English summary. Someone who eats Koche Kadoshim, that's the holiest type of sacrifices, outside of the curtains of Har HaBayis, or who eats Koche Kalim, the lighter type of sacrifice. The Koche Kadoshim is the holiest, Koche Kalim, Kadoshim Kalim is a lighter one. Or Maser Sheni, which we discussed a lot about, that's the tithe of which you can eat it in Yerushalayim, outside the wall of Yerushalayim. So there's temple mounts on which you eat Koche Kadoshim. There's the walls of Yerushalayim in which you eat Kochim Kalim and Maser Sheni. Should you take one out of the boundary it's supposed to be within, then you get Makkos for that. Now we're coming back to our topic. Loikin, Makkos, right? Eating a korban in the wrong place. Okay, let's discuss, as you can see, the Art Scrolls introduction. We're now discussing Maser Sheni, which is the last of the examples we gave. And it says like this. Tanino Chadazimno. We already learned this. We learned this in the previous Mishnah of this chapter. Okay, it says Maser Sheni vehekdesh shaloi nifto. Let's go to 13a, which is the first Mishnah of our chapter 3. And in this Mishnah, it's a long page ago, right?
Oh.
13a, you have to go to the right page of A. 13a, it's 13a6. 13a6 on top, right on top, told us this example. Maser Sheni and Hekdesh, it hadn't been redeemed. Okay, you get Makkos for it. 28. Eating unredeemed Maser Sheni outside of Yerushalayim is forbidden from the verse that says you may not eat it within your gate. You may not eat it within your gates where you are, but rather it has to be in Yerushalayim. Okay, so that's that. If you look at, just find the Mishnah we're focusing on now, and then we'll learn the difference between the two. So the Mishnah here is over here on page 17. Yeah, 17a2. We're comparing the two Mishnahs. So now we go to 17a2, and at the bottom line you'll see what it says: Kochim Kalim or Maser Sheni Chutz Lachoyma, out of the walls of Yerushalayim. What's the rule? Makkos. Says the Gemora, I don't get it. Why are you teaching Maser Sheni again? You taught us Maser Sheni in the previous Mishnah. The previous Mishnah said that Maser Sheni that's eaten, what was the terminology? No, unredeemed Maser Sheni. That means you ate it in your own hometown and didn't redeem it. So it's the original fruits of food. You ate the original fruits in your hometown, back at home, you get Makkos. Why? Because you ate it out of Yerushalayim. The terminology is slightly different, but it's the same law. Now it says, Maser Sheni, that you eat out of the Choyma, out of the wall of Yerushalayim, you get Makkos. The Gemara says, why teach the same law twice? That's the question. Remember, Rabbi Yehuda Nasi is the author of the Mishnah. He wouldn't write the same halacha twice. Obviously, he's teaching two different halachas through the laws of Ma'aser Sheni. We have to understand what is the difference between the two. Okay, so back to 19b1.
If they talk about if you're not able to bring the Ma'aser Sheni, Jerusalem, you can transfer the same to money.
That's right. And then eat your fruit where you are.
So they talked about buying food.
Yeah, with that money.
Yes, in Jerusalem.
Yeah.
What is that food? Fruit.
I think it's any food. Any food that you're able to eat. So initially your meiser is fruit.
Yeah.
Once you redeem it and you purchase, as long as you eat whatever it is in Yerushalayim, you're okay. Yeah. So then it's as if your fruit is buying the food. You've used the value of your fruit to buy the food that you want to eat in Yerushalayim. That's part of the celebration. That's what it is. To the food you're about to eat in Yerushalayim. Yeah. It reminds me, just a side note, unrelated to the fruit. When we were just now in Yerushalayim, we arranged a very, very special lunch in the old city of Yerushalayim with a host family, that couple that does Shabbos meals in the old city. Unbelievable. And we found it from a friend of a friend who said, reach out to this couple, they do these meals. So we reached out to this couple, not knowing who they were, and they said, we prefer if you came Friday night. We got a large group of birthright kids who are coming through, so it's going to be a big meal. We prefer if you come through to birthright and join the birthright group. And I wasn't coordinating, someone else was coordinating it, and they said, look, we've already arranged an arrangement for Friday night, so Shabbos day we're free. If you can work, it'll be amazing. So he writes, you know what? Fine. If Shabbos day works better for you, come Shabbos day. Where are you? You're in a hall. They're in a hall, in a reception hall, in like a, not big, I mean, it's this size, a hall in the old city. So you'll meet us at the hall.
That's how they
So they explained to us afterwards, near our home, come join us. Walk into this hall. I've never seen this. It's like a massive room in the middle of the old city, and everything's so small in the old city. It's this big room. And I'm mentioning this because the excitement on his face is like he was dressed all in white, like David HaMelech, all dressed in white. He's this Iranian. What?
Was he in a cat?
What's that?
No.
Like white vest, white shoes, white pants, very Yom Kippur looking. He tells us that he's from Iran originally. He's a Californian, and he lives in Yerushalayim. And basically, he was like, I'm mentioning this context because for him, this is like the world. To host guests in Yerushalayim is like his biggest thing. He was a script writer for Hollywood. And he's got a whole long story. He was married once before, he has a child, he wasn't religious at that point. Anyway, he was trying to become more religious over time through his rabbanim in California. He made a deal with Hashem that if Hashem enables him to keep Shabbos and have parnasa, the combination, he commits himself to host Shabbos guests. If he can keep Shabbos, I'm going to host Shabbos guests. And lo and behold, he was able to step down. I think he left Disney. He was writing for Disney. He left Disney, and he now does script writing on his own. So he's a writer who's able to freelance. Yeah, who's able to live in a house in the old city. He took us to his house. I mean, it's not big at all. So he said to me, I was always hosting people in my dining room. I can fit, he said, I know I can fit maximum 25 guests, chock-a-block, and only Bachrim, because he was a single man for quite a few years after he divorced. And so it was Bachrim with the yeshivas that used to come by to his house, and he used to host them. And that was the deal he made with God, that if he gives him parnasa and he can keep Shabbos in the old city, he's going to open his doors up for lunches. Anyway, then he married, a whole long story how he met this girl. She was working, she was a flatbush from a yeshivish background. He's coming from a Californian, Iranian background, not so religious. She's coming from Flatbush yeshivish background, who was rebellious and ended up in Yerushalayim. And she said her heart.
They probably met with the Jewish matchmaker.
No, in the old city, Mamish. And the matchmaker or the friend says to him, I've got a girl for you. Oh yeah, who's that? Oh, she's from Flatbush, Yeshivish background. Shivish, Litvish, rebellious. Nah, not for me. And then they go to her, you've got a shidduch for you. Who? An Iranian Jew from California who's Baal Tshuva, Iranian. No, not for me, not for me. And they're both living and working in the old city. And eventually they passed each other. And they looked at each other and they said, are you the girl? Are you? Yeah, I'm him, I'm her. And they connected as a whole unbelievable story. Anyway, I mentioned them in the context. So they host guests. Now they're the host men, women, because now she's there to host with him. And so now they grew out of their dining room. And so he took over, he says, Baruch Hashem, I've taken over the hall. He's rented the hall long term under his name, privately, so that he can have his guests on Shabbos. What he wants to do now is he wants to rent it out for Simcha so that people will generate income to help him with the rental. But he's taking it. He says, I'm taking the hall, now I can have guests Friday night, Shabbos day. Unbelievable. Murder. Okay, so why did I mention that? Because for him to eat the fruits in Yerushalayim, in the old city, is like, for that he's ready to do the world. Okay, let's go on. So here comes the answer. Rabbi Yossi bar Chanina. So Rabbi Yossi bar Chanina says there's two different prohibitions. Sefer, the last one that we're focusing on now, the Ma'aser Sheni Tahor, talking about Ma'aser Sheni, it's pure or not contaminated. The Gavra Tahor, and the person who's eating it, or the farmer, is also Tahor. And then he ate it outside of the wall. So the fruits are fit for consumption. The person is fit to consume it. But why is he getting Makkos? He's getting Makkos because he ate it in the wrong place. Okay. Reisha, what about the first part of the Mishnah? Reisha means the first part, meaning the first Mishnah. Right, the original text is referring to Ma'aser Sheni Tomei. It's impure. Interesting, the Mishnah never said that. Now the Gemora is clarifying the meaning of the Mishnah. The Mishnah is saying the Ma'aser Sheni is Tomei, the Gavra Tomei, and the person is Tomei. And he ate it, Ma'aser Sheni, in Yerushalayim. Did he eat in Yerushalayim? We said, look, the Mishnah teaches that the consumption of unredeemed Ma'aser Sheni in Yerushalayim is punishable by Makkos. If either the Ma'aser Sheni or the person is Tamei. So this is very interesting. The way we read the Mishnah 13a1 was that you ate unredeemed Ma'aser where we thought it's talking about outside Yerushalayim. Unredeemed Ma'aser. That means at home, you ate your Ma'aser and it's unredeemed, right? And you ate it at home. And we thought the problem with that is what? It's off outside Yerushalayim. That's what we thought. Now we're saying, no, it's not true. It's got nothing to do with the fact that he ate it outside Yerushalayim. It's in fact talking about that he ate it in Yerushalayim. And it makes sense now because the terminology wasn't there. What did it say there? It didn't say that he ate it outside the choyma, outside the wall. It said in different terminology. What did it say there? He ate unredeemed Ma'aser. Meaning he ate the holy Ma'aser, the fruit that were unredeemed. And what was wrong? This is now in between the lines. What was wrong? Either he was Tamei, and therefore he's not allowed to eat it, or the fruits are Tamei, and therefore they also can't be eaten.
The fruits were in contact with the dead.
Yeah, under the same roof as the dead. Let's see footnote 5. Look at 5.
And then if he was Tamei, the fruit will automatically become Tamei. Yeah,
once he touches it, yeah. We're talking about a situation. Yeah, if the fruits are no. 1 second. If he's Tamei, it depends what level you're on.
Yeah,
it's not so simple because there's Tumah Rishon, Tumah Sheni. So not all types of Tumah do transmit Tumah to other things. Look at footnote number 5. He brings the Rambam in his commentary to the Mishnah and the commentary to the Mishnah. Understands the Gemora's meaning that the Makkos eating Ma'aser Sheni in Tumah is incurred only when this is done in Yerushalayim, where it is fit to be eaten in Tahara. So when you ate it in Yerushalayim, that's where tumah is a problem. As for whether the Makkos for eating Ma'aser Sheni outside Yerushalayim applies when it's eaten in Tahara, okay, look there. All right. The point is that it seems like it's specific to Yerushalayim. When Yerushalayim, you should be eating in Tahara, you should be pure. And because you're Tomei, you should not be eating of Ma'aser Sheni. And for that, you're being punished. And you are in the status of impurity, and if you're in the status of impurity, you can't touch Ma'aser. That's the prohibition there.
So now you got your fruits, you brought it to Jerusalem, you're ready to eat it, and now you're impure. So now what do you do?
It's like we felt it. It's like being locked up in COVID for 2 weeks without planning it. Now we know the feeling. You're supposed to have a meeting and a simcha or a wedding or something, and now COVID hits. So the answer is, if you're tummy, you got to wait. The fruits have to wait. You got to refrigerate.
But is there time lapse?
No. There is. I think Yom Tov is a time lapse. Every 3 months or so, or Pesach and Sukkot or so, you declare on the Yom Tov that I've brought all my contributions. Something like that.
We read it earlier about when you
the declaration, right?
Yeah.
Where he says
those were
Bikurim. But I think in that declaration you do declare that I've brought all my contributions and yeah. Fine, yeah. Okay, so that's the problem. The problem is that your fruit was impure, or you were impure. And by the way, what would happen if the fruit's impure? You can't purify fruit. No. So you have to redeem that fruit again, and then purchase new food. No. So what would happen is that the impure fruit. I hear your point. I think what it means is like this: Ma'aser Sheni that's impure, you can't touch. It's a good question. So
impure unless a human being makes it.
That's right. And once it becomes impure, I understand. So let me just clarify Lewis's point. I understand better when you're impure. That I get clearly. When you're impure, don't touch Ma'aser, because you're not in the right state to touch Ma'aser. But we're even saying if the fruit's impure, you can't touch it. Let's say, right, you can't touch it. Well, makes sense because you're going to become impure as a result. And you're eating Ma'aser while you're impure. So what's going to happen? What's going to happen is like this: you redeem it. When you redeem it, the fruit now becomes mundane. So anybody can eat it now. So you'll give it to anybody. You'll give it to somebody who's recovering from tumah. It doesn't have to be eaten in tahara, in holiness. That's what we're saying. It's saying, what do you gain? You gain the fact it's now not Ma'aser. So somebody who's in a state of impurity can now benefit from those impure fruits.
You take it out of Jerusalem.
Yes, once it's redeemed.
Then they can't redeem it.
No, so you can redeem it. You redeem the impure fruit and you'll buy more food, Yerushalayim.
So you sell it, right? Redeem it
means you sell it. Or you keep it for yourself and you just take the money about it. So redeem means you don't have to sell it. You can just take 20 rand and exchange it for 20 rand. And the fruit now becomes mundane, impure mundane fruit. And the money you go buy more fruit for.
What's making the fruits impure?
A dead body in the same house would make it the fruits impure.
But why, if you knew about it, why would you bring it?
No, you don't know. It's sitting in a home, and that house where you're housing your fruits, someone dies.
Okay. But then why would you take it?
Even I think from dead animals?
No. If they touch dead animals.
Okay.
Or if they're on the same couch or seat of a dead animal. Then I think you would transmit tumah, but not under the roof. The roof is only for a human being. Okay.
Because the animal could be carrying the fruits, and the animal could die.
Could die. I actually wonder if the nevela of an animal, which is the carcass of an animal, does it transmit tumah? I'm not sure offhand. It transmits does. So then the fruits on an animal, would become impure if the animal died. Okay, so that's the case we're talking about now. All right, now the question is, I guess this is our discussion right now. Who said that Ma'aser Sheni in a case of tumah is a problem? That's the next question. So it's one thing that you can't take it off the mountain of Yerushalayim. There's a clear verse that says you must eat it you can't eat it within your gateways back at home. You have to eat it on Yerushalayim. But the question is, where do we know the mechayiv alei mishum tumah? How do we know that you can't have ma'aser sheni in a state of tumah? The Tanya, so we bring a brisa, teacher of the Tanai of the Mishnaic sages. They say like this: Rabbi Shimon says, "L'bi'ati mimenu b'tomei." This is the part of the declaration of the Bikurim, actually about ma'aser sheni. I have not consumed any of it in tumah. L'bi'ati mimenu b'tomei, meaning I have not eaten any of it in tumah. Look at this explains Craig's point about how often this happen. Look at footnote 6. After the 3rd and 6th years of the Shemitah cycle, a farmer in Eretz Yisrael must convey all the tithes in his possession to their rightful owners and consume all his ma'aser sheni. So you got to allocate all your contributions. 3rd and 6th year of Shemitah. This process is known as biur, the removal of. It must be completed by the 6th day of Pesach, of the 4th, that means after the 3rd, and the 7th year after the 6th, that's when you have to do it by. On the following day,
Did the beer comments come?
yes, no, same word, biur. Yeah, exactly. The following day, the 7th day of Pesach, the farmer who has satisfactorily performed biur must make the ma'aser declaration stated in the Torah, attesting to his fulfillment of the Torah's tithing requirements. Included in this declaration is the phrase, "I've not consumed any of it, ma'aser sheni, in tumah." The trick is, it's the word biur. Lo bi'arti mimenu b'tomei. I have not consumed it through being tomei. And that means I have not eaten any ma'aser sheni. Beish ani tomei v'hu ta'or. Back into the Gemora. Whether I was tomei and it was ta'or. Beish ani ta'or v'hu tomei. Or whether I was ta'or and it was tomei. Right? I haven't done that. Now, the heichon muzhar alachilo. But
Do you need witnesses for it to become?
tomei?
Yeah.
To say what happened?
Yeah.
I don't think so. Once one
Yeah.
No. Once one person sees what has happened to it, it'll become tomei.
I have to warn you that.
No, about what? About eating tumah.
But you can, yeah.
Okay, wait, 1 second. So where do we see? Yes. They have to warn you before you eat the tumah. Yeah, they have to inform you that this is tomei. And do you know that you can't eat tumah? Sure. Okay, let's not use track here. But where do we know that this is the same rice that I just told you can't have it in tomei? But where does it? Do you actually know? Where's the verse that says you can't have it? He declares that I didn't eat it when I was tomei. But now the Gemara, the Brisa asks, who said eating it when you're tomei is a problem? Where's the source for that? Why must he declare the concept that we don't even know the source of? And the Brisa says, Eini yedea. I don't even know. That's how the Brisa ends. I don't know. That's a footnote 7. It's a strange terminology, Eini yedea. So we actually don't know the source for why we must eat ma'aser sheni in tahara. Let's see what he says here. Number 7. As we have learned, in order for a transgression to be punishable by Makkos, it must be clearly warned, i.e., stated in the form of a prohibition. This above verse is not expressed as a warning. You shall not eat. It doesn't say those words, but only as a declaration that the owner must make. I did not eat. The Brisa inquires after the warning that makes this prohibition subject to Makkos. Where do we know it from? It doesn't say anything more. It just says any there.
Can I just ask one thing here?
Yeah.
This year after the 3rd and 6th year of the Shemitah cycle, so that means it would be the 10th and the 13th year. The Shemitah cycle of the 7th year.
No, wait. After Shemitah.
After the
3rd and 7th of the Shemitah.
Of the Shemitah cycle.
Yes, so the way
The Shemitah cycle is in the
we
7th year.
we consider that. Thank you. We consider the whole 7 being the Shemitah Yom. When we talk about Shemitah cycle, we're talking about the whole 7-year chunk.
Yeah,
This
so
is the
after
first-
the 7-year chunk,
No, after the third year within the 7-year chunk,
after the 3rd and 6th years. of-
within the 7-year cycle.
So this is the first year, last year was Shemitah.
Uh-huh.
That's what we-
This year is the one of 7.
So then it happens every 3rd and 6th years of this cycle. And that happens to be the same 2
You
years
said
Now you,
that you do Masa Aini.
Shani.
Ani, for the poor,
Yes, Maisa Ani instead of Maisa Levi.
yeah. So it happens on the same 2 years
Interesting, you point that out.
that you're giving to
Interesting,
the
you
poor.
point that out. What's the connection? Why is it then, Dafka? I have it, maybe,
Yeah,
I don't know offhand, but maybe, you hear what, rather just connecting two very random points. That 3 and 6 are the unique years when you don't give a tithe to the Levi anymore, you give a tithe to the poor man.
and it's the same 2 years,
Same 2 years when you
yeah,
declare that you've given away all your contributions. It could be that it's a special law relating to poor people. But dafka on the year of the poor man's food, you need to declare that you gave away all the meiser.
But you haven't, it's only halfway through the year.
You're saying before Pesach,
Yes.
halfway in the year.
So
Oh, I
just-
see. So it's
so you
really,
still got 96.
it's really for previous years, not necessarily that year. Interesting. There you go. I don't know. You've pointed out 2 interesting points about the 3rd and 6th year. I just wonder whether there's a connection there. I don't know offhand if there is or if there isn't. There are 2 details.
I think it's the year finishes and, it's Sukkot, it's. you
No,
still
no, but
gotta-
why 3 and 6?
Because the 3 and 6 is the years of, is it the poor man?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, but why
So I-
why then would you make the declaration for Meiser Sheni?
It says all your tithes.
Yeah.
Maybe
You have to
including
declare
those
that
two.
all your tithes have been allocated correctly.
Maybe it's including those 2 as well.
Yeah, it for sure includes Meiser Sheni and the Meiser Ani.
All your Masa have been declared,
Yeah. And allocated correctly.
yeah.
Okay, don't know offhand, interesting point. Okay, so I do not know. By the way, there is a Rashi and a Chumash. I don't know if it's more than one. The Rashi asks a question on the Chumash and he says, I don't know. And that's how he ends off Rashi. Which teaches you a lesson that sometimes if you don't know, it doesn't hold you back from continuing to learn. You're going to move on. Not always does a question hold you back.
In Picavo, it says that. It's something, if you don't know something, just say, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Loyalty.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So now we may come back to this because the Gemora is going to pause. We may come back. The Gemora is going to pause for a moment and it interjects with the following: Tumas haguf, behedya ksiv. So now, when the person, Lewis, interesting, we pointed this out also. When the person's tamei, he can't eat the Meiser Sheni. That's clear. That we understand. We understand that logically, and we understand that because there's going to be a verse that's going to prove it. The issue was what's wrong with the food being tamei. That was the issue that we have. But we say, I don't know. It's in reference to the food being tamei. What's wrong with Meiser Sheni being tamei? But with regards to the person who's eating it, there we have a clear pasuk. It says, Nefesh ashetiga boy, the tama ada orev. So if a person touches a dead body or a source of tum, you'll be tama until the evening. You may not eat from the holies, i.e., the holy sacrifices, unless you've been in a body of water, i.e., the mikveh. If you look at
As simple as that, of waiting till they're going to
mikveh,
mikveh,
the next day, as the sun rises, you can have.
you're going to have considered pure again.
Yeah. That's all it takes. Yeah. It's only a nida in the Gemara's terminology, even a zav or a zava. In other words, liquids flowing from a body of a male or a female. In today's times, we don't follow the male, but it could happen that a male flows a type of semen or zera that's actually thicker than usual, and that would be a sign of impurity. And also, he'll have to go through a purification process similar to a woman. Today, we don't monitor that of men; we monitor of women. And of women we monitor, and there they have to count. But that's because they have to clean their bodies before they go to the mikveh. In the case of tumah, there's nothing to clean, right? Once you're impure, you go to the mikveh, you wait it overnight, and now you're pure again. Okay.
So that means it's just a spiritual cleaning.
Exactly. There's no residue of blood that we have to wait for your body to clean before you actually go to the mikveh.
So then when do you need the red heifer?
Only tumah mate. Impurity caused by a dead body, you need the red heifer. So not blood flow, etc. Only specifically if you came in touch with a dead body, either ohel, with the roof, or touching, then it's a red heifer. So you're right. So that's a stricter type, and that's twice. I think the seventh, you get sprinkled twice before over a 7-day period in order to be purified. So there's a few days of waiting there. That's a good point.
But in those days, people almost saved for the whole year, a whole period of time to take their money to go to Jerusalem. And then they get there, they've acquired something that's tameh. They're not necessarily going to have the resources then to buy something else. So what happens?
So to the fruit.
Yeah.
Again, if you can redeem it, it makes it a bit easier. Because they'll sell the fruit
And they can buy
and
something
then buy something else. Or redeem the fruit, which I still keep it, but I can eat it when I'm tummy. Because now it's mundane. Once it's mundane, once it's chulin, it's no longer holy anymore. Then I can eat it as well.
But then you haven't done Ma'aser Sheni.
When you buy the new fruit, in exchange, that's your Ma'aser Sheni. Okay, so we said, let's just finish the last line. In Tractate Yevomis, we demonstrated that the holies referred to in this verse are Ma'aser Sheni foods. Thus, the Torah explicitly warns a person who is Tomei against eating Ma'aser Sheni. Okay, so that's quite clear. And the Torah is saying clearly, when you are impure, Ela tumas atzmoi minayin. But rather, the whole question of the Brisa isn't about when you're pure or impure. It's about the fruit. How do you know that the fruit itself can't be impure? That's the question. We're just clarifying what the question is. The question is not about the person who's Tomei, that we understand. There's a clear verse on that. It's specifically the fruit. Who said that the fruit is a problem? And here's the answer. We said earlier, Ein Yodea. I don't know, right? We said before, I don't know. Here the Gemara brings a verse. It says, interesting, why would you say Ein Yodea and then bring the answer? Unless it's a flowing statement. And where is the source for not eating it? I don't know. And then the Gemara answers here, or the Brisa answers, here's a verse. Sounds like, okay. It says, we quoted this verse when I read the Gemara earlier. You may not eat in your outlying cities, that means in the outskirts, in your gateways, the Ma'aser Sheni of your grain. So you may not eat in your cities in the outskirts the Ma'aser Sheni. And further on it says, in your outlying cities, this is talking about the Bechor offering, that was blemished. It says, you can eat it in your outlying cities, the Tomei person and the Tohar person together.
It's blemished. It's nice.
I understand that. But I think what we're about to do is a B'zera Shava. If you look at the article, the identical expression in your outlying cities, i.e. B'sharecha, used both in the case of the Bechor and both in the case of Ma'aser Sheni. I think we have to go to the next paragraph to understand how this works. See, but Tanya the Rabbi Shmuel. I mean, so let's just clarify what we just said. We just said there's two verses that have the same word b'sharecha in your gateways. One verse says, "Don't eat the fruit in your gateways b'sharecha." Out in the outskirts, you can't eat the fruit. Verse number one. The second verse says, "In your outskirts, in your gateways, you may eat it." The tamei and the tahor together, both the impure person and the pure person. How's it possible? How are you allowed to eat it now suddenly in the gateways? You want to explain. The Tana de Rabbi Shmuel and Rabbi Shmuel in the yeshiva, Rabbi Shmuel, they taught us. Tamei, the tahor, oichlin, the kara achas, the ein shoyagin, the ein choshishin. What does it mean to eat together? They can eat it from a single platter, the impure, the blemished bechor, it is. They can eat the meat in one plate. That is, a tamei person may eat despite his bodily tumah, and although when he touches it, he contaminates that which is on the platter, the tahor person may then eat of it despite its own tumah. Thus, in your outlying seatings, may you eat it together, teaches that neither bodily tumah nor its own tumah preclude consumption of a blemished bechor. Oh, so only of a bechor, not the Ma'aser Sheni yet. The bechor. What do we say about the bechor? That the tamei and the tahor person can eat together the meat of the bechor that's been unblemished. Are we talking unblemished or blemished? Blemished. We're talking about here. Yeah. Even forget about it. It's blemished. The blemished animal is now permissible to everybody to eat of it. We're saying that when you eat of the blemished animal, tamei and tahor can eat together. What about the platter? What about the plate? How can the tamei now touch the same plate as a tahor person's touching? You're transmitting tumah. I wonder why.
So the before was blemished.
It's right, so therefore wasn't able to be sacrificed.
So therefore you want to eat it.
Exactly. Everyone can eat it. And now the chiddush, the novelty, isn't so much around the bechor, it's more around who eats it now.
Okay,
So we're saying the tamei and the tahor person can actually eat from the same platter. What's the worry? The worry is that they're going to transmit contamination to the non-pure, to each other, right? And we're saying that we're not worried about that. Don't exactly understand why we're not worried about that. And neither bodily tumah nor its own tumah preclude consumption of a blemished bechor. Okay, let's see. Let's go on. Rachamona, and the Torah says, Rachamona is a Tov Hashem, and the Torah says, you may not eat it in your outlying sittings regarding Ma'aser Sheni. Haich Tomei Yishrailoch Gabe Tohar Hasam. The fact that I allowed you to eat tamei and tahor together was there in that case regarding the bechor, the firstborn, the meat. I allowed you to eat it with regards to the meat. But hacha, in the case of Ma'aser Sheni, lo teichul, you may not eat it. How do you see that from the words letuchal? Sorry,
I'm just misunderstanding something here.
Yeah.
Are they not talking about a defected or damaged bechor?
Yes.
So what they're saying is, if the bechor is a bit, it's an offering, then you can't eat it like that. But if it's damaged, only if it's damaged, can both
the tummy and Torah, yeah.
and things.
It sounds like it loses its holiness and then it's just a cow.
Then it's just a cow.
That's right. That's right. If it's holy, then only a Torah person can eat it.
Yeah, if it's unblemished.
Yeah.
If it's blemished, anybody can eat it.
That's right.
And that's why.
No, wait. Everyone can eat it. And with another detail to it is that
Off the
Tomei
same
people
plate.
are off the same plate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. That law of off the same plate won't apply to Meiser. Meiser Sheni.
Because Meiser Sheni is not.
It's holy, you say.
And
Exactly.
you have to say the whole to eat the Makkos sheni.
That's right. So it's not, hold your thought, Rod. I'm trying to finish that last detail here. He's saying. Sure. Look at 13. The verse teaches that Meiser Sheni may not be eaten in a manner of that which is eaten in the outlying cities. Don't eat it in the same way as that which is eaten in the outlying cities, i.e. Bechor. Because Bechor can be eaten anyway. So don't eat it in the way you eat it. Don't eat the Meiser Sheni in the way you're eating the meat in the outlying cities. That is, unlike a Bechor, which may be eaten both in bodily tumah and its own tumah, happens to be it's blemished, but nonetheless, unlike a bechor that may be eaten both in its bodily tumah and its own tumah, Meiser Sheni may not be eaten under these conditions. This constitutes a warning, punishable by Makkos, against eating Meiser Sheni in tumah.
It's just saying that you can have you can bring a for that it is that's not perfect.
No, it means that once every bechor, you can't offer it. No, if you offer it on the mizbeach,
Yeah, okay, fine.
that's different. We're not. I don't think we're talking about offering the mizbeach.
So we're just talking about just eating it for a meal.
Exactly, because now it's a firstborn. A firstborn is dedicated. You have it offered up on the mizbeach because you can't.
We still eat it.
You still eat it. Why specifically blemished? Who said it's blemished? I'd go bring that in. I'm just going to see when the Gemara we see that.
Yes, yeah. Where did I see it? Yeah. In your outlying cities, you may eat it together. It teaches that neither bodily tumah nor its own tumah preclude consumption of a blemished.
Blemished before, yeah, but why the blemished? Because it's sort of
Because you can't give a blemished before to the Kohanim.
yeah, exactly. What he's saying is, if it's not blemished, it's going to go to the kohen. If it's blemished, it's going to stay with you. So now, I'll tell you like this. So let's go back to the top paragraph there for a second. The first full paragraph on this page. We got two verses. One verse says, "Don't eat it in your gateway." That's talking about Meiser Sheni. The second one says, "In your gateway, you may eat it as pure and impure together." The way it works is, so what's Meiser telling you? This is the source paragraph. This is the origin of how you know that Tomei, that the food that's Tomei is problematic. Yeah. He says, it says, in your gateway you may eat. In your gateway you may eat Tomei and Torah together. Which means impurity doesn't affect when it comes to Bechor. But lo tuchal lechol b'sharecha. Don't eat the meiser the way you would normally eat that which is okay in the gateway. You got to play the words here. Don't eat the meiser in the same way as you would eat the meat that is okay to eat in the gateway. You're using the double terminology b'sharecha. It says b'sharecha regarding meiser. It says b'sharecha regarding meat. What it's saying is, don't eat the meiser the same way as you eat bisharecha regarding meat. Because in meat, laws of impurity doesn't apply because it's blemished. But for meiser, it's different. Meiser would be a problem. And therefore, if the meiser was impure, the Torah is telling you can't eat it. Okay, it's a complicated piece. It's one comparison between Bechor, eaten in your gateway, and Meiser Sheni. Let's go on to the next piece. We'll do another short piece here. The Gemora has now told us if you see, the implication is, let's read it. The Gemara has explained that the first Mishnah, which lists Meiser Sheni, has not been redeemed, refers to the unredeemed Meiser Sheni that is eaten in Yerushalayim in a state of Tumah. That's the problem. The implication is that it was not redeemed, but it can be redeemed even though it has already been brought to Yerushalayim. Sounds like if it's unredeemed in Yerushalayim, that implies that you have the choice to redeem it in Yerushalayim. That's the question. In our discussion tonight, we pretty much assume that you can redeem it whenever you want, even in Yerushalayim. But the Gemara is asking a question now. Can you redeem Meiser in Yerushalayim? Or is redeeming only an act that's done for those who are outside of the city? Once you come into the city, you got to retain the sanctity of the fruit. That's the question. Whoever said you're allowed to redeem fruits? Interesting question. Once it comes to Yerushalayim, whoever said you're allowed to redeem the fruits? Where do you get that from? Rabbi Lazar says this is the answer. When we know that Meiser Sheni that became impure, you can redeem it even inside the walls of Yerushalayim. Because it says in the verse, because you are unable, so means normally to carry it. In other words, if you look at footnote 15, the issue is you live far away. If the ways will be too long for you, so that you are unable to carry it. You can't carry it because the place that Hashem your God will choose to put his name is too far away. Then you can exchange it for money. So se'es normally means carry it. You can't carry it. Fine, back to the Gemara. But here he interprets it to mean differently. Ve'ein se'es elo achila. What is se'es? Se'es here means to eat. Shnema, how do you know? Shnema, ve'yisa masois me'es ponov. And he served them portions that had been set before him. Genesis, where's that? What? They're talking about Avram Avinu, or his guests.
It's quite late.
So the 43 is late, you mean?
Yeah.
No, why?
Can't be Abraham, chapter 43 in Genesis. Then it's towards
After Ma'aseh Bereshis? After creation? He prepared portions that had been set before him. Should have it here, 1 second.
Yeah.
You're right. Thank you. It's Yosef and Binyamin. It's Joseph in Egypt. He prepared portions for them. Okay. So masois, you see, means food. So now how do you interpret the verse? It says that thus we learn that Meiser Sheni cannot be eaten because it is Tomei. We may redeem it even in Yerushalayim. Right. So it doesn't mean that he can't carry it because it's too heavy. It means that you can't eat it. Why can't you eat it? Because it's Tomei. The moment you can't eat it, the verse says you can redeem. So from here we learn that if the fruits are Tomei, then you redeem. Where are you? You may be in Yerushalayim.
You can't just redeem it just.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you said if you want a shram instead of the fruit.
So you have to have it.
If it's Tomei, then
If it's pure and not damaged, you can't redeem it.
in Yerushalayim.
If it
Yeah.
is, you
That's
can.
what it sounds like. Yeah.
Yes. But
It sounds like. Yeah. Because once, if you bring the fruits, the original fruits, and the fruits are still okay,
Yeah.
And then you're gonna keep it like that.
You can redeem pure outside.
Exactly, because
Jerusalem.
then you can
Inside.
use the excuse it was too heavy to carry.
Yeah, well, the produce would go off by the time it got.
By the time we got there,
or
exactly.
Whatever, that's
But
why.
can you go, you know, out, so you go into Jerusalem and you come back out.
How will it help you?
No, I'm saying like, you're allowed to do that. Like, can't.
Once it's there, oh, you pull it away.
Like,
Pull it away.
like,
Why would you pull it away? You have second thoughts.
yeah, I don't know.
Good question.
You walk past.
No, he's saying, what happens if you brought it into Jerusalem, but then you pull it out again and
You can't take it out, you have to consume it there.
Yeah.
That's what.
what happens if I want to redeem it, but I can't do it here? I'll just exit the wall one more time.
Yeah.
And I'll redeem it there.
Because you can't.
Because once it's in, it's in.
Yeah.
That's what makes, that's what it is, taking it into Jerusalem. and
Once
consuming
it's
it
there, it's there.
Yeah, and if it's so pure, you
Yeah.
can't redeem it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a bottle, no back or violation.
No, you can't go in and out. I don't think.
So you redeem it for the money, now you've got to find someone that does have pure fruit for you to buy.
No, I think it's any food.
Yeah, exactly,
Those
any.
are the usual guy.
I need to clarify that point of what you can buy with that fruit. Or with that money. I just need to clarify that point. If it's any food or it's fruits specifically. I would
No,
I think it's any food. I think it's any food.
The only
I
thing
saw-
is we did this.
We-
with
we-
Golden.
Oh, this Gemora. So this is already your chazar. You're now revising. You're ahead of the game here. You're ahead of the game here.
A bit ahead.
You're revising.
He's Googling Daniel.
Yeah, Google it. No, so it was, the reason it was done was because if you couldn't take, if it was impractical to take food, or if it was gonna go off, or grain was, had a chance of fermenting or anything like that, you redeemed and took the money and spent the money on
Yeah.
collateral if you wanted, so long as
Yeah.
the money was spent on consumables in Jerusalem. You know, eating food or whatever.
But you couldn't take it, maybe go do something else with it.
No, you couldn't go there and to go to Jerusalem and buy a bed and bring it home. You had
You had
to
to consume-
you had to consume it in
In a
Jerusalem
certain period of time.
while you were there. In Jerusalem.
No, overtime.
You don't have to do that.
Yeah, but you didn't
But
go
we
and buy the
said-
food and take it out of Jerusalem and take it
But
home.
we said those the third and sixth year, or the fourth and seventh.
You have to be out.
You have spent all your money by that time.
Oh, right. So here's Hilton's point. Clarify.
So it gave you a deadline of the fourth and seventh pay set, that you had to have spent the money of that time. You have a maximum of 3 years.
That's part of a,
It is so long time.
for consumables.
And how much were you selling? Into what value?
Well, remember, because it's a 10. Master Shani.
Yeah.
And it's not every year your message.
It can be part of it.
What years was Mount Shani?
That's what we're coming in.
Huh?
How do you conceptualize the value of it?
Yeah.
No.
The first, the fourth, the seventh year,
First?
wasn't it?
Can be seven, not seven, not seven.
First,
It's just 13, yeah, so
third and, third and fourth is Ani, so it could have only been,
No, but don't forget Levi. The Levi was the other year.
yeah,
Third and sixth was Ani.
yeah.
That means 1, 2, 4, and 5 was Levite. I'm almost sure Mount Shani was every year. What do you say there? How often?
Early.
Maser, it is a biblical obligation to give 2 tithes each, known as Maser, from the produce of the land of Israel. The first tithe, Maser Rishon, is given to a Levi. The second tithe, Maser Sheni, is taken to Jerusalem and eaten there, or redeemed with coins, which are then taken to Jerusalem for the purchase of food to be eaten there. In the third and sixth year of the 7-year Shemitah cycle, the Maser Sheni obligation is replaced with the Maser Ani.
So what?
So Levi, the Levi always kept his.
The Maser Rishon.
Rishon. Ma'aser Sheni and Ma'aser Ani interchanged. Yeah, under Ma'aser. But then how does it tie into third and sixth year? Oh, because he says, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So it's almost, it seems a bit like the Yovel and the Shemitah, that you've kind of got like occasions in time that are not necessarily related to that event, but it's like a landmark that you then doing other things.
Okay, we're gonna end it here. We're onto the bottom last line of 19b2 regarding redeeming outside